rap war going on between Trump and the Pope. But I don't like the old white guy with the real estate empire, but I have my issues with Trump, too.
The Democratic Party invited a bunch of culture wars into our kids' schools, and we lost that war.
You know what's bad for the Democrats and the liberals when Bill freaking Maher is turning on them. I mean, he acknowledges the only reason the left loves the Pope right now, who they historically have hated, is because they're feuding with, or he's feuding with President Trump. I mean, it doesn't get any more hypocritical than that. He also admits in this video that President Trump is right on a lot of things that are currently going on. So I hope you stick around for the full thing, because this is hilarious. Bill Maher is actually turning on the Democrats, and I think he's a closeted Trump supporter. Let's get into this. Starting things off, obviously, with Joe Rogan in the White House, and he had this to say about President Trump.
I want to tell everybody how this happened. I sent President Trump some information. We have a gigantic opiate problem in this country, obviously. In 2024, more than 80,000 people died of overdoses. It's a horrible number. And there's more than 5 million people that are addicted to opiates right now in this country. With one dose of Ibogaine, more than 80% of people are free of that addiction. With 2 doses, it's more than 90%. I sent him that information. The text message came back, sounds great. Do you want FDA approval? Let's do it. Literally that quick. These drugs are illegal not because they're harmful. They're illegal because of the 1970 Controlled Substances Act that was passed by the Richard Nixon administration. They did it to target the civil rights movement and the anti-war movement. It's not because these drugs harm people. And for 56 years, we've lived under those terrible conditions. We're free of that now. We're free.
Because of Joe freaking Rogan. I mean, this timeline just gets better and better. Pretty awesome to see Joe, kind of sort of patching things up with President Trump. And then now we got to take a look at what's going on with Bill Maher, because he says some crazy stuff.
I love hypocritical America. I really do. See, the liberals suddenly love the Pope. The Pope, who 2 weeks ago was all in the headlines. You know why? Exorcisms. Yeah, this big thing about we got to the demons are all around, the devil. That's who the fucking Pope is, okay? A guy who does exorcism, doesn't believe in gay marriage, no women priests. But now, because he's feuding with Trump, MSNBC loves this guy. He got a big speech on the floor from Chuck Schumer. Eric Swalwell sent him a dick pic.
Oh, I mean, that's kind of the truth, man. The Democrats are freaking weird like that. They just go where the tide blows them, and it's just so freaking weird. The left has hated the Pope. The left has been anti-Christian, anti-church, all that stuff. We know that. And all of a sudden they love the Pope? Yeah, no, something's not adding up here.
Big story here in California. The front runner for the governor was Eric Swalwell, Congressman Eric Swalwell.
Bye-bye. 5
women came forward now and accused.
By the way, I mean, the midterms are going to flip. The governor of California is going to be Republican. The top 2 contenders are Republican right now. They're leading it. And with a good endorsement from President Trump for any of those candidates, you're going to see an even higher surge for Republicans leading the governor for California. It's going to be incredible, man. That's it. Cali is going back to Republican. Can you imagine how historical it's going to be when the governor of California becomes Republican, right? And the entire state flips because of Eric Swalwell and his shady freaking past. And the fact that the Dems tried to freaking cover this up for years. I mean, if they're trying to cover that up, what else are they covering up, right?
Fire between Israel and Lebanon. We have a ceasefire between Trump and Iran, and fingers crossed, we might even have one between Trump and the Pope. They are beefing. That is a full-on rap war going on between Trump and the Pope. But I don't know who to root for in this one. I really don't. I don't like the old white guy with the real estate empire, but I have my issues with Trump too.
Holy crap, dude, that caught me off guard. Oh, man, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. You got to give Bill some credit on that one. Oh, I'm going to have to use that one. If you're watching this channel, chances are you already know how crazy things are getting online. Between censorship, data tracking, and companies selling your private information, your privacy is under attack 24/7. That's why I use Private Internet Access VPN. It's one of the most trusted VPNs out there with millions of users, and it does exactly what you think it should. It protects your data, hides your IP address, and lets you browse the internet like you're supposed to, privately. And here's the thing, your internet service provider can legally track and sell your browsing data. That's not a conspiracy, that's real. Private internet access encrypts your connection so they can't see what you're doing. It's also insanely useful if you want to travel or just want unrestricted access, whether that's streaming, news, or content that gets blocked depending on where you are. Setup takes 2 minutes. With one click, you are fully protected. So if you care about your privacy, and honestly, you should, click the link down below in the description or scan the QR code on your screen and you get 83% off plus 4 months for free. You also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So there's literally zero financial risk just to try it out. Get protected, stay anonymous, and take back control of your internet.
That's another scary thing about AI. The people who run it, i.e. the people who run the world. And it's like five guys who between them and working as a team couldn't correctly read a social cue.
And the craziest part about this is what conservatives or people on the right have been warning about for years. But no, it's a conspiracy. Nobody controls the world. It's all good. It's safe. Nothing's going to happen. No, there's no this and that. There's no monopoly. And now as we get closer and closer, you got people like Bill Maher, right? Heavy liberal, and now realizing, oh yeah, shit, there actually is a small amount of people that are really controlling the world. What's the difference between the conspiracy and the truth? A few months. Used to be a few years, then it was a few months, now it's like a couple weeks or a couple days.
We're letting a handful of hoodie-wearing, on-the-spectrum sociopaths, practically robots themselves, roll the dice on species extinction.
I mean, to be fair, Elon Musk has been talking about this for quite some time and warning about this for several years, and people said he's crazy. People wanted to accuse him of a whole bunch of things. People tried burning down his companies literally with Molotov cocktails, and now they're like, oh crap, he's right, and he's taking a lot of precautions with Grok. Wait, is Elon Musk actually a bad guy or is he a good guy? Freaking left is a bunch of brainless dorks, I tell you.
The Democratic Party, taking 2024, going back to 2020, invited a bunch of culture wars into our kids' schools, and we lost that war. I mean, here in California, up in San Francisco, they were arguing and voted to take Abraham Lincoln's name off of a high school. Not whether they were worried about whether the kids know why Abraham Lincoln was such an icon and the school was named after him.
Bro, this is the former White House chief of staff for President Obama admitting that the left went too far to the left. They brought in culture war. They brought in a social war. They lost, and they don't know when to call it quits. This is what's wrong with the whole crazy amount of gender. All that whole hoopla thing was done because a few people were like, you know what? We're going to push this and give validation to 10 people in the entire country. Now it's blown out of proportion. And what are you left with? You're left with a fracture that's going to take years to fix. And a bunch of people that are shooting up others out in schools or out at political events. It's getting out of hand. The former White House chief of staff for President Obama admits that the Democrats took it too far and they lost. That should tell you everything that you need to know. He's also part of the problem for even being a part of pushing all of this.
They lost the plot. They totally lost the plot, and they lost the American people in that plot. And when you're going to make a mistake, I'm going to call it out, your consequence for that. The cultural wars was a mistake. One thing the American people want from us is when their backs are up against the wall, they want us to show up and help them, not argue about Latinx as a term, not argue about defunding the police or, in some situations, or more importantly, letting the border get out of control. We actually have to show respect for the American people, their primary concerns, and help them.
I mean, kudos to him and kudos to other, Democrats that are actually able to step forward and say, you know what? Yeah, we took it too far and we kind of messed up and we kind of ruined the country a little bit. Yeah, I mean, first step is admitting it. Second step is never allowing yourself to push it that far again. How about we just get back to a level or a place of common sense? There doesn't have to be far right and far left. We can just bring politics back to being normal, common sense shit where you can sit down with your family instead of feeling like you can't speak to your family anymore because they chose not to get some sort of experimental shot. Like, it's just weird what's going on. The separation of people, of dialogue, of language has gone so radically wrong. A lot of it, like 90 some percent of it is attributed to the left. So kudos to him, I suppose, for using some airtime to admit the mistakes.
My view on this whole thing is the Senate shouldn't be in the business of picking which weapons. No more U.S. military as a financial assistance by the taxpayers for Israel. You're a country like all other allies of ours, Japan, South Korea, the Brits, the Germans. You're going to pay full price. You buy what you want, but you have to abide by the laws.
Yeah, I mean, sending this much amount of foreign aid to other countries, like, not just Israel, but Ukraine, for instance, has gotten and ballooned so far out of control, it's unrecognizable. It doesn't make any sense. Hundreds of billions of dollars have been sent to places like Ukraine. Why? Well, like, what the hell is the point? People didn't vote for this. Nobody wants that, right? Like, this is just ridiculous. What the hell's happening? Anyways, that's the video. It's kind of nice to see Bill Maher be on the right side of history, I guess, in this specific video, but he still is a bit of a lefty and has some good takes, a lot of bad takes. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments about the video. Hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.